installs were in?
Yeah, I mean, it's going good. Right now, we're really working hard to develop the habitual traits needed at each position to be a consistent football team. That's something we've obviously got to reestablish. And I think the guys have worked hard to develop those kind of habits to fundamentally be a sound team. And we've just got to continue to work to be consistent. And that's what we're going to stress the next week and a half, 2 weeks of practice.
What do you want to see out of the scrimmage this weekend?
Improvement over last week. I thought guys played hard. Like I said, I thought that we're working to develop the kind of habits you need to be successful. And anytime you're trying to develop those kind of habits, it takes time, it takes reps, it takes consistency, it takes continuity, and those are the kind of things we're working on. So really, I just want to see us continue to improve in that area and continue to play with energy and the kind of physicality that we need to play with to win in this league.
Talk about the energy. A lot of the guys last week were talking about the energy and the fire that yourself and Coach English and the defensive staff brings and stuff. When you look at the film maybe that you watch coming in compared to now, do you see an increase in energy?
Yeah, I do. I think football is a tough sport for tough people, and I think that you need to coach it that way. I think it's important to be passionate about your job, just like the players, and that's the way we're going to coach them, and that's the way we expect them to play, and we're going to continue to do that. And I love these guys to death. They really work hard, and they're really trying to get better. And we've just got to make sure that every time we get an opportunity to get together, whether it be in the classroom watching tape or on the practice field grinding and working, that we get better and do the things we got to do to be the kind of team we want to be.
Was there anybody that stood out to you in that first scrimmage? Anybody just kind of jump off the film?
When you start looking at the safeties, Brandon and Mark, I think have really done a good job with what we're doing. I think JT brings a little bit something to the star position, the way we're going to play him. Really there was pluses and minuses of everybody. I would say that I was really pleased with those guys, and we just got to continue to work and develop and get everybody playing at a consistent level.
Is that a no-brainer for JT, that position for you?
Yeah, I think he's pretty. He's strong. He can run. He's got some DB skills. He can play blockers on the perimeter. He's got the ability to win in the rush. So we got to find ways to bring him, and I think he's pretty good at that stuff.
Does having him there change the complexion of the defense with where you can insert different guys?
Well, I think that when you look at stars, the kind of stars you have, if you have a guy that couldn't set the edge on the bubbles and they can throw it out there for 5 or 6 yards, that's not very good. If you got a guy that when he blitzes, he's not going to win matchups, those are issues. I think that JT's good at those things. I think that it becomes more than just a position, it becomes a personnel, meaning it's a person that you have to deal with what he's doing. So, I've been pleased with his work ethic, and I've been pleased with the way he's progressed, and I think he'll be a good player for us.
As spring comes close to an end, what are some of the technique things he needs to work on over the summer to be better at that come fall?
I just think as a general rule, we've all got to continue to work to improve our tackling and making sure that we have the ability to tackle in space, because when you play on the perimeter, you got to get guys down, and you got to find ways to get them down, roll them down if you have to. We just got to continue to work on that. Understanding our leverage is where our helps are, from that standpoint. And other than that, just continue to play the position and become consistent at it, and being able to play fast.
You came from a program where the quarterback tested y'all pretty good in practice. How does that kind of help with Nick being the quarterback he is to go?
Yeah, Nick's a really good quarterback. I mean, he has a lot of attributes that Lamar has from an athletic ability standpoint. He throws a nice ball outside. I think our offensive coaches look at them. I've been really impressed with the way they develop quarterbacks, because not only do you look at Nick, but the guy behind him and the way they're bringing him along. And if you look at him from day one until now, he's really improved too. So been really impressed with the way our offensive guys develop quarterbacks and get them to understand where to throw the ball relative to the coverage and what you've got. And I think those guys have done a good job of that.
How's Corey Thomas, one of your veteran guys, the defensive line, handled this?
Yeah, I think Corey's flashed a little bit. I think the style in which we play is better suited for him. We're more of more of an attacking the man kind of at the front. Get off the ball and play the run as you're going after the quarterback. And when you do that, you have a chance to make negative yardage plays. You also have a chance to be disruptive as a D lineman if you get a bad block or, a guy oversets you or things like that. So I think the style in which we play kind of lends itself to more TFLs up front, tackle for losses up front for guys. And I think that his body type and the way he plays, I think he can excel at that.
You mentioned earlier in the spring you wanted to see more out of the pass rush. Have you seen development in that?
We're working on that. It's going back to developing habits and trying to improve. I would say we're a work in progress right now at that. We're going to get better at it, and we will find ways to hit the quarterback as we move forward. So we'll continue to work at it.
Is it an individual technique thing, or is it a proficiency within the
Well,
scheme?
anytime you have to learn to play with your hands, it's a motor movement. And when you have those motor movements, it's repetition, it's habit, it's habitual traits, and all those things. Then you got to learn to feel the way in which the guy's setting you. So it's kind of like running the ball on offense. It's a feel thing, and we're improving, and we'll continue to improve.
Your work with the linebackers, who's kind of taking on the leadership role at that position now?
I've been really impressed with a lot. When you look at our inside guys between Dez, Harris, and Leo, those guys have really come on and done a tremendous job for us and make the calls and been the glue to what we try to do. So we'll continue to lean on those guys to be those kind of people.